it's Philip with Slam on Tour, CCTV 105.5 The Moon. I am here with Bob and Lisa from the fabulous BellRays. Woo! Thank you so much for spending your day off with us. I know you had a long drive this morning.
Yes. Into the afternoon, into the evening.
Yes, and then you came here and tore it up. Let's just jump right in. You guys have a big 2019 planned. You have a new record coming out this week, next week?
Next week we have the digital version of Punk Funk Rock Soul Volume 2. The Deuce.
And tell us a little bit about that. Is it all originals?
It is all originals. It's the follow-up to an EP we did in 2017 called Punk Funk Rock Soul Volume 1.
Okay.
And it was a 4-song EP that just kind of punched and got everybody ready for this LP that's really got some wonderful tunes that are just like the name says, punk,
Right
funk,
on.
rock, and soul.
Yep.
So do you have a preference amongst those four? Are you equal in all of those?
They're my babies. What do you think?
I mean, I have my favorites, but I really like the way the whole album, how it spreads out. It's nice. You know, we've done albums where it's been, you know,
Right.
the whole time. I like those too, but this one's cool. You get to catch your breath. You know, you get to it's got some bluesy stuff on it, which I'm a big
Like,
blues
what
head.
is that like? Every
Every
chance
chance
I
I
get.
get, yeah, songs like that. It's got power pop stuff like I Can't Hide and.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself, as you mature, stretching out more on the mellower stuff? The bluesier
I've
stuff?
always liked it. I mean, we've there's always been that element to us that we've done it, but it's the ratio was always, you know, lopsided to the heavy, loud stuff.
Right.
And a lot of that probably had to do with me too. I think I have actually mellowed more toward the quieter stuff as years have gone on. But it also had to do with Bob playing guitar. Like for a while there, Bob was playing bass. So once he went over to guitar, it's a completely different vibe.
Sure.
And I'm grateful for that. And it kind of just organically worked. Oh yeah, well we can do this song. This can be we can do these slower tunes, or it creates this window to write a different way.
Okay.
So I really appreciate that.
And with me, it might be an age thing where I feel like sometimes I have more to prove what we can do as a band, even though we've been doing it the whole time. It's you when you hear the reviews and the descriptions, they sort of gloss over that stuff. They sort of gloss over the blues stuff that we do and the softer stuff that we do. And now that it's more featured, it's, you kind of hope that they
Still
see
gloss
that.
over.
Yeah.
More than just one. People do that all the time. This is the time of glossing over
Right.
everything. So one of the reasons, hence we call the record Punk Funk Rock Soul, to just kind of make it really easy. Like,
Well,
don't
people-
ask me what it is, but of course they're going to ask me what it
Of
is.
course they are. Well, and do you think that part of it has to do with your career has been like more loud and aggressive? So that's what people just have keyed on to these years? And
Yeah, I mean, and I get it. I understand. We're a rock and roll band, and it's a big,
Right.
loud, noisy thing, and I like that. But I'm just one of those guys. When I read a review or when I see a band and want to do it, I want to describe it accurately. I don't just
Right.
want to throw catch things at it and
Right.
and just oh well, it's all like this, and sometimes it is, maybe it is. Lots of times it isn't, and we're not one of those.
No, and I don't read reviews.
Yeah,
I
I
just
think
don't.
that, yeah, sure.
I don't do that. I don't. I would think most people would never really get what it is that we do if you try to explain what somebody should actually be seeing.
Right.
If you go and you actually see it. I always figure, why do we come across as so aggressive when so many other rock bands are out there doing, the same kind of thing, and they usually have a white guy acting like a black female singer. So
Well, no, that's a really valid point, and I mean the idea, and I manage Black Artists, I manage Cody, and a couple of people,
absolutely.
and people aren't ready
There's a
to
difference.
accept what the black guitar bands or however you want it, guitar rock.
absolutely right.
This, I don't mean to talk about myself, it's just a funny story. We were in St. Louis with Erykah Badu, and we played, it was the first time we ever played to like a predominantly black audience. They hated him. I mean, they really hated him.
I know what that feels like.
I'm sure you do, yeah, of course. which is a really weird thing considering, Chuck Berry's from St. Louis.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have seen a black man with guitar before.
yeah. Oh,
But,
yeah.
And obviously, the black contribution of rock and roll cannot
Absolutely.
be underestimated.
Oh,
Overestimated, I mean,
You're
it's
right.
so-
You're absolutely right about that. A lot of it, especially during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're starting to see a little bit more people moving, more. They're more accepting of the idea, but it still has to be almost curated to this point of
Right.
this marketing thing.
Right.
And it's not that I don't think people have it in them to really see it. It's just there's so much crap out there to see that
Oh,
a lot of
that's a
people
big
don't
thing,
focus.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it is.
There's
It
a
is.
lot of stuff out there. The Pro Tools area is a very dual-edged sword, isn't it? There's just so many records now.
So many, and so little still.
Yeah. So many records, so few ideas.
Like that. So little time. I don't think you could actually listen to everything released anymore in the
Yeah.
course of a year if that's all you did
Yeah.
for 24
I'm
hours
sure.
a day.
I'm sure.
Always been afraid before. I was always worried about opening that door, but that light outside my window was never there before. Now I know I can't hide from your love. Shadows, I kept running from the light. Now there's nowhere left to run to. The love just burns too bright, and I know I can't hide from your love anymore. I can't hide from your love. Hiding from my shadows underground. I could have spent my whole life there and never know what I had found. Never know what I had found. Never know what I had found. Oh. I can't hide from your love, oh now baby, anymore. I can't hide from your love, oh now baby, anymore. I can't hide, baby, anymore. I can't hide, now baby, oh no.
I wanted to ask you something. I'm going to go to the motto of the band. I love this. What is it? Blues is the teacher, punk is the preacher. Would you care to elaborate, please?
What's the best way to elaborate?
blues is the historical precedent for rock and roll.
Sure.
Punk is the loud vocal element
Okay.
of it. You know, I mean that's sort of the way I see that phrase
Okay.
working out. You know,
And not punk as people see punk, like, oh, this is a labeling of this kind of music. It was punk as the whole movement came
Right.
out. It is not about, Green Day.
Right. Well, we're all old enough to actually remember when punk came out versus, a 17-year-old that's picking up guitar for the first time and inspired.
And when
Green
and when
Day,
they
so.
when they throw the term punk out there, it got picked up later. But Thelonious Monk is a
Exactly.
punk rocker.
Sure.
Beethoven is a punk rocker.
Okay.
If you look at what they were doing when they were doing it, it's that break from the tried and true. It's the adventure
Rites of
of
Spring
trying to
guy.
do something.
Right.
Yeah,
That guy was
Stravinsky,
punk, right?
Stravinsky, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's that. That's what it's about. There's a very solid historical base for everything, which is what blues represents, and that's where you go to learn. And then the punk element is the actual. Okay, let's take what we've learned and let's throw it at people and let's see what happens. Let's just go on an adventure together.
And we kind of stole it from the jazz one. There's a jazz one that's actually part of this
yeah
thing that
It's-
happened before it. I can't remember who it was
Yeah,
anymore.
we did not invent that catchphrase.
did.
we molded it for our
We
purposes.
molded it for our
understand that.
purposes because I know
Yeah.
there's some jazz head out there saying,
Yeah. Oh, you just copied.
right?
I have a hi-fi album that says.
That's fine.
Hey baby, made a mess of things. Thought I could buy your love.
So you guys were punk rock though. You guys were one of the first to really be all independent. Going back, you guys have been independent for a while.
Oh yeah,
and
not by choice.
Out of
I
necessity,
find it hard to believe that, especially in the early days, you didn't have labels sniffing around.
Oh no, they wanted everybody wanted us to be something other than what we were.
Okay.
At almost at every juncture in our career. When we were first coming out doing our thing, they wanted us to be more like Tracy Chapman. Like they'd look at a picture and say what they thought we should sound
the
like.
cassette tape you send them has a picture of the band with Lisa in front of it.
Oh, it
and
must
they
be
say,
like
oh,
this."
it must be like Tracy Chapman.
Right,
Well, why don't you listen to it and find out?
right, right.
And then
And then when
grunge
they
happened.
do, they don't, what do I do with this? You know,
Yeah.
It's like,
Then grunge happened.
dude, you
and
press it
nobody-
up and you sell it. You
Yeah.
know what? Sorry.
It's all right. You can take it. Go ahead, Bob.
No. That's all I'm gonna say.
But going solo or going independent
Mm-hmm.
was actually probably better for you than to let some A&R guy decide, hey, we're gonna cut your hair and
yeah.
give you an acoustic guitar and
Have
want
somebody
you.
mold you or
Yeah.
have somebody. Well, I've never really been that good at taking direction. I've always been
You're ornery.
just enough to really make somebody run away. So it's because I remember when we first started picking up traction in the late 90s, the first thing some people started coming up and just saying, hey, we should just take you aside and,
Yeah, of course.
the whole thing. And it's like, well, I mean, did you watch the show? Did you see, like, this is what we do?
Right.
Where am I going to get this to do that? And their whole idea was to do something completely different, which
So-
isn't where my heart is.
Right.
My heart is with this band, with the BellRays.
It was late last night. The party was just getting started. I had a drink or three. Someone gave me cocaine for free. I had a handful of pills. I washed them down with a couple of beers. Mushrooms and PCP and ketamine are the reason I'm here. I'm gonna need another prescription. I think I'm way too high. Oh, doctor, please. Give me something for this bad reaction. Doctor, please. Give me something for this bad reaction. I woke up in the day. Everyone was staring at me when I put my bed. Why is everybody just staring at me? They said, I said it wasn't speed, it was heroin with some other kind of pills of red and blue. I think I snorted some oxycodone too. I'm gonna need another prescription. I think I'm way too high. Oh, doctor, please. Give me something for this bad reaction. Doctor, please. Give me something for this bad reaction. Doctor, please. Give me something for this bad reaction. Doctor, please. Oh, give me something for this bad reaction.
You know, one thing I noticed looking through your discography and listening to the different things that you guys don't chase trends, which I thought was really cool. It's not like you put out a grunge record.
Thank
when
you for
it
noticing
was.
that.
You didn't put out an EDM record. There's no
Thank you.
guest vocalist from some woman. It has nothing to do with the band.
Right,
It's
right.
coming to sing the chorus or anything. And I think that's really cool that you have stuck to your vision now for a couple decades. Right? I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot
No,
like
it's
that.
good. It's not on the spot. You
Yeah.
know, there's this whole thing anymore about, like, I enjoy the fact that we have mileage. I enjoy the fact that I'm not 20 years old. I would never want to be 20 again. And the whole idea, this marketed, created vision of what television and what movies and what everything that everybody's trying to sell should be. It should be this thing that's, you know, in its from 14 to 24.
Right.
It's crap.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense. Most of the people, I don't even want to freaking look at them when they look like that. I want them to say, you know, who would have said that about Sean Connery? Who would have said that about any Lauren Bacall? Any of these people that just like really are in, they know who they are.
Right.
And I appreciate the fact that I've known who I am for a very long time. And that as a band, I think that's translated for you. You've known who you are, you know, and we've stuck to that. And that's really what it's about. It's about, you know, yeah, you might look at a review or something like that somebody says and be perturbed by it, but it is not an influencer.
Right.
It isn't something that influences you to go and do what they say. It influences you more to go and say, well, I'm going to dig right into this thing that they're not noticing.
Right.
And I like that about what we do.
Okay, I'm a big fan of the Daptone sound.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that stuff. I play the crap out of Sharon Jones and Charles Bradley
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that stuff. Have you ever thought, hey, let's just had a couple horn players and an organ player?
Funny you
and-
should mention this. That's so funny you should mention this. We actually did a couple years back. We did a group called Lisa and the Lips.
Okay.
And it's fabulous. Actually, it's a funk band more than anything else. That when we went to Spain because we were invited there to go and actually do a recording at the Red Bull Studios there, where they just
cool.
said they
Sure,
heard us
yeah.
doing like some covers that we had done with a couple horn players,
Right.
and they said, this sounds like something we might want to do, so we'll give you this space for
It was
2
like,
weeks.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
In their studio that they had in the
Right.
center of Madrid,
Yeah.
and
We didn't have any songs. We didn't have any of the
No.
stuff. And we went there and wrote this record and these songs that went that way. But they're our way of going that way.
Sure, of course.
Because the guy, when the guy was doing it, he said, it should be like, you know, like Sharon Jones or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I don't do like anybody.
Right.
I don't
That's
know
a
how
great
I don't know how to do that stuff. Lots of times you look at these trends that they're doing. It's like, man, I don't know how to do that. Call me stupid or whatever. I just don't know how they're doing
Sure.
that. So it really doesn't interest me to change everything I'm doing to try to emulate that. And
Right.
But
You
we
know,
did it. We did it
by the
more.
time I'd learn it, it'd be past.
Right.
The trend would be gone.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Sure.
And we did it more because we were having this really creative, some kind of creative block during that period. We had just gotten done recording the BellRays record that we thought was going to come out, you know, in 2012 or 13, and we listened back to it and we were like, man, that is not going to happen. It just doesn't sound right. So then we got this offer to go and do this other thing just to kind of clear our heads and work on that. I think by us going to do that, it helped us get to the point where we did punk, funk, rock, soul
Okay.
eventually. But it was something I think that was necessary, kind of a schism,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to shake everything up. And I'm really proud of that project as well as what came after it with the BellRays.
Yeah, because it's when you're in, if you're an artist, you got to follow the voices that are in your head. Because if you're chasing, look at everything that's out there right now, and try to look at it and go, okay, that's going to be the next big thing, and you go chase that, and then all of a sudden the next big thing's over here.
Right. Sure. Yeah. By the time you
Wasted
catch
all this
up.
time wasting, trying
Right.
to do something that you don't know how to do and you're not very good at, and it's not very comfortable. Instead of doing what you want to do, which may not be over there, it may be over here, but who knows?
Right.
They might start looking over here. It's the iconic people that you remember, and the iconic acts and entities and stuff. you will find that people don't emulate them because they can't. You
Right.
know, they have bands like the Who and the Beatles. Sure, you could get that Mercy Beat sound, but once they did Rubber Soul,
Yeah.
nobody,
Right.
nobody copied them. The Who, once they got into after the Can't Explain and that kind of stuff, nobody could touch them.
Right.
You know, and so they just keep going on their own, and they blaze that trail. You know, Led Zeppelin, those kind of bands.
When the world gets crazy, when it's upside down, it may not seem like anyone will help you off the ground. But sometime you've been looking too hard. Sometime you forget who you are. Can't wait for the world to begin. You gotta be your own best friend. It might not be easy, but you gotta have love in hard times. And we all need some love, yeah, especially in the hard times. Even at the beginning, oh, baby, we had a different view. But I know that difference. Yeah, it's all part of loving you. And sometimes you don't know which road to take. Sometimes you might be losing your faith. Can't wait for the wrongs to be right. We gotta hold on through the night. It might not be easy, but you gotta have love in hard times. I know we've been here before, and I know, baby, trying to walk on out the door. I know, oh, we can't do this anymore. Thinking you, no, you don't know it, baby. Oh, you don't know. Sometimes you forget where you've been. Sometimes you gotta do it again. Can't wait for the world to begin. Oh, you gotta be your own best friend. Might not be easy, but you gotta have
When was the first time you said, "I want to sing for a living"? Was there a situation or something that like flipped the switch in your head that says, "This is what I'm going to do"?
I remember, like there were certain songs that I grew up hearing, but there was one specifically, "Signify a Monkey" by Oscar Brown Jr. He used to, I don't know if we had a recording of it or what, but my mom had it, and I somehow learned all the words to it.
It's a lot of words.
And it's a lot of words. I
right.
never really thought about it like until much later, but I was like 6 or 7 years old at summer camp, and they asked everybody if you want to sing at the talent night or whatever, or do something for talent night. And for whatever reason, I don't even know, because I was a pretty shy kid. I said, I'll do that.
Okay.
And I stood up in the middle of the whole camp, and back then it was probably a campfire with maybe 50 kids, but I could have swore it was like 300 people. And, and my leg was shaking, and I stood up and I did it a cappella.
Okay.
And that was, when I did that, I was just like, wow. And then you finish it and you don't throw up, and then people applaud.
It's addictive, right?
Then it's like, well, maybe I can do this.
Very cool. How about you, Bob?
I was, when we were kids, my cousins and my brother and I, we used to pretend to play, put on a Partridge Family album when we would pretend to be the guys. But then when I was 13, I went and saw this movie. It was called The Rock and Roll Movie. I have no idea who put it out, why. I've never been able to find it or anything again. But all it was a collection of live performances by Canned Heat, Mountain, Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles in Tokyo.
Okay.
All this weird off the wall stuff that nobody had seen at that point,
Right.
Because there was no videos of it or DVDs or anything, and it was an all night movie that my mom dropped me and my brother off to, and I think the other one that played with it was this movie about Bigfoot.
Okay.
Some really bad 71 movie
Right.
about Bigfoot, but then the Rock and Roll Movie came on, and Jimi Hendrix did a live version of Voodoo Child.
Okay.
And I walked out of the thing, and my mom picked us up and said, I gotta have a guitar. I have to have a guitar. I need one right now. And she went and bought me some, crappy piece of junk acoustic guitar. And I started taking lessons, and, I just never looked back.
Okay.
It just became something I had to do. I'd never thought about playing an instrument before that.
Oh, interesting.
and-
Okay. Do you remember the first record you bought
First record I bought.
with your own money?
Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road
Okay, that's a good one.
With your own money.
with my own money.
I want to say, this might be really stupid, but it was when you still could buy 45s,
Uh-huh.
and I want to say it was Rod Stewart, Do You Think I'm Sexy?
That's a good one. That's a hit. Right?
No, it's not embarrassing for that. It was just like, I remember the cover. What I was thinking about, I remember the cover, and it's his face, and he's holding this woman, and he's grabbing her ass.
That's right. She's wearing like leopard skin tights. That's right.
Yeah.
Right on. Awesome. How about your first concerts, like big shows, not like a local show?
Well, I don't know if it counts as not being a local show because it was at the University of Redlands, but it was Fishbone.
Okay, no, that's well,
It was an outdoor arena
Yeah.
thing, and I always felt like we were so lucky because it was when they first.
I saw them early on too. It's great. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was electrifying. It was something I had never imagined, and we were just talking about the whole concept of not really picturing young black men playing guitar
Right.
and being a rock band and being all this stuff, and to hear these guys do ska, funk, like people still don't really understand what Fishbone brought
Right.
to the table.
Right.
Like the Chili Peppers would not have ever even freaking been here.
True.
Or No Doubt or
No
any of
Doubt.
these other groups because they were unbelievable.
Fishbone opened the door and was holding
They
it for
really
everybody to
did.
walk
They were
through.
so.
Fishbone and the Untouchables.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we were always chasing the kinds of things that they were
Yeah.
doing. It was really fun. We weren't trying to be them, but we were like, man, they just put this element here with that, and it was flawless. And now I think a lot of that had to do with the way that they, started playing together. They learned how to
Right.
basically how to navigate music together.
Yeah, and they didn't see boundaries either. They just
Right.
played songs.
Right.
They just wrote a song and they played it.
Right.
Which was really cool.
They're still active.
They are.
There's stuff they're
They
doing.
are still doing it,
Yeah.
and they're great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Storm cloud coming straight to you. You can't run for shelter. There's nothing you can do. I'm a new sensation. I'm on fire from an old system. I don't know why. Like lightning. I'm a sinner, baby. I'm all the power you need. Now I'm out of the power. on you. You're gonna turn me on. I'm gonna turn on you. No matter where you are, be in your head. Never rest till I'm dead. Like lightning. Oh, across the world every night and day. I'll be the sun to light your way. Like lightning. Like lightning. Like lightning. Like lightning.
You guys have a proven track record. You've done this for a living for a while on your own terms. Any advice for young budding musicians out
Yes.
there? And just take it away.
That's right. If only do this if you must. If you're not sure you want to do it, or if you can't do it, don't do it.
That's kind of your motto.
Get out of the way.
motivation
That's
thing.
right,
I
and
read
it's
the
just like-
motivation on the website. That was a pretty good thing. We do it because we must.
We do it because we must, and if you don't have to do it, you don't need to do it. Stay home.
That's some really sound advice.
That's for whatever you want to do. That's not just
Sure.
for music.
Sure.
To me, I think we really need to stop looking at, oh, how much money am I going to make, or what is this going to be, or those kinds of things as motivation. You don't know what your heart is saying, and you're not listening to your heart maybe at that point. If
Right.
if you don't really have to do something. So I'm trying to help them out.
No, that's a good one. That's actually really good. How about you, Bob? Anything or?
That's it. Just try to find a way to do what you want to do. It doesn't have to be, a successful career path. Success for me is measured in how much you like doing what you're doing. I love doing what I'm doing. If for some reason I can't, I'll do something else. But we put in a lot of effort to be able to do what we want to do.
Right.
And it'd be much easier to not do it. I mean, it really would be. It'd be much more
Absolutely.
lucrative. It'd be much easier, less worrisome, and everything. But we wouldn't be here
Right.
talking to you right now.
Right.
We wouldn't be. We wouldn't get to play.
You wouldn't be here.
I won't be.
Yeah.
here.
See, it's one of those things where everybody, you figure out a way. That's the most important, and to me, the most humane thing that we can do is actually look and search for your path. Because the more you look and find your path, you're going to be happy. You're not going to be looking at what's going on next to you. Marketing won't really affect you
Right.
because you'll know what to do. There's a reason they don't teach kids this stuff in school.
Right. That's true.
There's too much money to be made by confusing people and confusing women.
Right.
And telling them that you need to be a specific way or listen
Right.
to certain things, or even ethnic groups, and saying that no, this is not cool black music, this is not cool white music, this is not, trying to keep all of this stuff separated
Right.
allows a lot of people to make a lot of money.
Right.
Getting you to look for how you're going to find that path to
Right.
do this other thing that's still not going to make you happy.
Right.
You need to find out what's going on and what's being spoken, what your heart is saying, and listen to it.
Awesome. I
Follow
think
your
that-
heart.
Oh, yeah, that's great. No, that's perfect. I think that's a good place to end. Thank you so much for coming again, spending your day off with
you for
us. I
having
us.
really
You're welcome.
appreciate that.
Thank you for having us.
And, so I'm with Bob and Lisa from the BellRays. We've been watching Slam on tour. Thank you to Bernard and Cracking the Skins Craig, bass player and drummer extraordinaire, backing you up on this tour.
Thank you.
And subsequent tours. And we hope to see you again. Thank you again. For
Me
coming
too.
in.
This is great.
Awesome. Are we good?
We're good.